retail. Then, working here has opened doors like Jacques Pepin did a dinner here for the foundation. And I got to spend a day cooking with Rick Moonen, Ming Tsai, Champ was here, Spadell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's a dude you should talk to.
Yeah. Well, I went to eat at Persimmon last time I was in town.
Yeah.
With Chef Jake.
Yeah, really good.
And his Kyle Kersetter, guy that I knew in college, was, still there after 10 years. So that says a lot about that kitchen,
Yeah. But, I did that dinner, and I got to, I ran the pass for Ming Tsai and Rick Moonen and Champ and who else was there? James he's in Mystic, Connecticut. He's in a group. James Wyman.
Okay.
Sarah Moulton was there as a guest. Just like a really cool dinner. Got to be part of that. Which opened doors. I can text Rick Moonen now. How cool, and to be in that circle and do that sort of food and have them see your place and go, wow, you're doing it here. You're doing it too, and slowly but surely keep expanding the program. The first year here we had Add Avocado, and then it was like, wait a second, if we want to be a farm-driven restaurant, who's the avocado farmer?
Yeah.
And it's like 86 avocado, let's really, really hone in on New England, as much as we can. Still being able to use mascarpone. And stuff like that,
Reference to the Colby episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Colby. That was a great episode. And an eye-opener, you can be true, and support, so... The coolest thing, I think, is that, we're massive. So, I spend $30,000 with one farm a year. Mm-hmm. That's life-changing to that farm. To that farm. We expanded the butcher program this year, and a good friend of mine's a master butcher. He needed work, part-time work. So he comes in and butchers for us. So we're on our 9th steer since May. That's serious moving of meat for local farmers, that they weren't moving, and now it's no big, hey, we're struggling, I've had a farmer come to me and go, I'm really struggling, I'm in a pinch, any chance you can buy an animal? I'm like, yeah, send it. Here's $4,000. That just saved his farm, maybe. Yeah. And to do that, and then we get, it's not like we're getting shitty product. It's like I'm getting this amazing product too, and then we get to take the whole animal and celebrate it, and build the menu through the animal, and have these different kitchens to roll through it. Yeah. Pandemic hit, and that was a big scary one. I was out of the country. I was in Portugal for New Year's 2019 to 20. Yeah. And then I was in Jamaica in March of 2020, and the pandemic hit. And they, I came back, and Rhode Island shut down. I had to go in quarantine because they were like, you were just out of the country. You go in quarantine. And then we shut down. And, the owners were like, just shut it down. And we shut it down, and they laid everyone off. And I had never been laid off in my life. I had that one firing. And I put on Facebook that I was unemployed, and I wrote this big long thing about unemployment. It got 100,000 views and shares, and went kind of viral through the chef groups. But then the private clubs started calling. Okay. They're like, "Hey, we remember you. You want to come back to the club world because pandemic isn't affecting the clubs. At the time it was still new.
Because those people don't give a fuck.
Right? Yeah. It's only us. We all know each other. And so I came to the ownership here, and I was like, I can't be laid off, and they were like, all right, chef, why don't you come in and we're shipping wine, come in and box wine. I'm like, well, let me come in and do inventory. So I came in and did inventory, and I was like, we got a lot of money sitting on the shelf. I go, but it's all stuff because we're a farm-driven restaurant. Mm-hmm. It's all our preserved product. I go, I think you should let me open for curbside. I go, let me do prepared meals. Yeah. I'll prep them, I'll cool them, and people can pick them up and take them home and reheat them. I go, and I'll do one meal a day, and it'll be themed. And we'll do it in lots of 2 and 4, and we'll do it like up to 40 people a day. No, up to 80 people a day we did. Up to 80 people a day. I go, and I can probably do that by myself.
Yeah.
And I started, and I was like, and I'll just work through the inventory. I'm like, we got all these jarred tomatoes, and we got all this pasta to make. I'll make a pasta night.
Yeah.
You know, we did taco kits. You know, like shit ton of little fucking 2-ounce ramekins. And after the first one, I realized that I bit off way more than I can chew.
Yeah, you always need help to go.
Well, like what's cool is I did it all, and then I looked at the kitchen, and it was exploded. And I was like, fuck's gonna clean this up?
Like, man, I gotta.
Yeah, I'm like, where's the crew? You know,
that's funny.
Where's Jesus? You know, so I had 2 cooks that lived on the island here.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you two older crew, the only 2 older people on the crew, Captain Mike and this woman DJ, who started out as a runner, and she told me one day she was running. She's like, I used to work at Garmager at Bouchard. I was like, why the fuck are you running? I'm like dying for cooks.
What's her name?
DJ. Donna Joe.
I'll look into that.
Yeah,
I probably know her.
Yeah, a long time ago. She worked at Bouchard, and older lady. And I was like, you're working, now you're going to work in the kitchen. You know? Now she's one of my lead, catering cooks.
Yeah.
But, so they were like, do you know how to do packaged food? I was like, Diet Fresh. All day, yeah, I was like, all day long, I can do that, And so we did that, and like the first menu I put out sold out like nothing. So then we started doing a couple days a week. Then I started doing brunch takeout, pick it up Saturday night, so you can wake up and heat up a frittata, some home fries, bake some muffins. Like we were just working. I was like, I got to bring in like some butter and shit, but other than that, like I can work through all the flour we had, all the built-up stores, because, being a farm-driven restaurant, March and April are really fucking hard.
Yeah.
In New England, because all the root vegetables are gone, all your storage is gone, like there's nothing coming out of the ground, so that's when we really like look at, what we preserved and what we pickled and what we jarred and, and what's left, for roots and stuff. Hopefully some forage stuff is coming along. But so we were poised up to, do it. And we did I remember we did Chinese food one night because everybody was being horrible to Chinese restaurants.
Yeah.
So we did Chinese food one night, and that sold in like 2 hours. And so we shifted for the pandemic, and then that worked. And then the brewery we reopened, and this restaurant closed. Bricks stayed closed.
Yeah.
Staffing is the biggest thing. No front of house staff. Cooks were tough. Cooks are still tough. Now we get cooks and they come on for like 6 months, and they start in Garmager, and we get a lot of kids with no experience, but they work 6 months for us in Garmager, and then someone offers them a sous chef job. Because I don't know if it's because they've been in our kitchen for 6 months or just the world is kind of fucked up right now, and owners are throwing, money at people just to get them to come work.
Yeah.
And I just won't do that still. I still want you to, I find that anyone who pays their dues in this business ends up surviving longer and is a better cook, I think.
Yeah.
You have to pay your dues. I've seen too many people come right out of culinary school and get their first chef job and never have a chance to grow, but get locked into that salary.
Yeah.
And then when the owner throws them on their ass because they fucked up their restaurant, they're so committed to that salary that they got to stay. They can never go back and learn.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who didn't go to school but works with enough kids that came out of school, I see the base it gives you. And it gives you a solid base, but you're not ready to run it.
No.
You're not ready to run it. And,
not at all.
And unfortunately there's owners out there that tell kids they are. And so I shifted a little bit, is that being a farm-driven restaurant, why not grow chefs?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to, I came from Eric, who came off of Ken. Why not the people that come off of me? The people that come off of me, maybe they'll go, you don't have to be farm-driven, but cook with the same ethics we cook with.
Yeah.
Put on your uniform the same way. Have some pride. And that's what I'm trying to teach these kids. I had a guy with me for 5 years, Matthew, and he just wasn't going to make it any further in this kitchen.
Yeah.
He was struggling, and, and every year the crew gets better, I turn the food up. The food's growing with the staff.
Yeah.
And Matthew struggled as we were growing. So when the end of the season hit and we laid off, I told him he wasn't coming back. I said, you need to find yourself. And so he ended up getting in with Aramark because it was pandemic.
Gotcha.
And he calls me up, and he's like, and this was a huge eye-opening moment for me. He calls me, he's like, Chef, they're not roasting their own turkey. They're not making their own bread. What the fuck? You told me this is the only way.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, that's Aramark.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably contracted for like 7 cents a pound turkey. Like, you're not going to change them.
Yeah, you're not.
He's like, well, what am I going to do? Like, you told me that's the only way. I'm like, I realized that I'm teaching them almost wrong. Like, I'm giving these kids who have no experience, and I'm telling them, like, there's no such thing as lay flat bacon anymore. Like, you need to cure your own bacon and slice it yourself. And, like...
Gotcha.
Right, I was, like, ruining them, because then they're going to go somewhere else where they're not going to have that opportunity. So they're not going to know what the fuck to do. So I said, Matt, I want you to take our ethics. Take how we label, how we date, how we take care of the food, how we put it away, how you carry yourself, how you clean up, how you talk to your staff. Take all that and see what happens. Now he's managing. Mm-hmm. He's like, Chef, I did all that. And now, like, they want to promote me and they want me to run my own thing. And I'm like, see? And now you have a spot. So now I feel great because I mentored him up as much as I could. And then I sent him out into the world, and he's successful. Is he doing the same thing that I'm doing here? No. But yes, because he's putting his heart and soul and using the ethics that we brought in.
Yeah.
And that's what we're, I'm trying to do now with all these kids, like, I mean, they say once it's over, how far are you going to go? What do you have, So I'm going to have hopefully a whole army of kids that have these great ethics, that want to cook great food. Jasmine started as, I mentioned her as Garmager. She's my executive sous.
Nice.
She's leaving Saturday's her last day.
Where's she going?
She's going to Georgia.
All right.
She's going down. I actually told her, I said, you need to go to Audrey.
Yeah.
I go, they're looking for cooks.
Yeah,
you need to go.
They are. I go, 100%.
And she's that good.
Yeah.
She's that good. I go, you need to go to Audrey. And she's like, I don't want to. Is it Nashville?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want to live in Nashville. I'm like, they need cooks.
Yeah.
And like, if you want, like that's the place. Like,
yeah.
If I was 25 and single, and and I could just throw a dart to go somewhere, like that's where I would
100% the restaurant of the future. Like, yes. I just saw it. I'm like, this is gonna be something really special. Yeah. And so Jasmine, fucking check that place out.
Yeah, like 100%. If you have an opportunity, and it's good because she's ready. It's time for her to go.
Yeah.
She's done her time. There's nowhere, there's no higher to go, and I got kids behind her, that want to move up in the chain, and so we'll do that. But also, all the sous chefs that are listening right now, I'm looking for an executive sous. Send me your resume. Chef Andy Tex on Insta or Andy@NewportVineyards.com. Anyone who's looking to make the next step, coming to a really cool place, I'm looking for an executive sous. Yeah. So I want to put it out on Sucio.Talk to the Sucio world.
Fuck yeah, baby.
This is a cool place, and there's no yelling, there's no screaming, there's passion. Yeah. There's passion, you fuck up, you'll know. Yeah. But you won't get abused. And if you fuck up enough, the next day we'll make fun of you about it. Yeah. I had a kid that seemed to be wanting to au poivre every piece of protein he put out. Yeah. The third one came back pepper crusted, and the manager comes, she's like, Chef. And I looked at him, and I wanted to. It's the only time I've ever thrown a plate in the kitchen. Yeah. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, third in a row? Like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Yeah. You're rolling it in peppercorns. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, and I chucked the plate. And that was the end of service that night. And then the next day, he, got smoked and had, a flawless service. So that night, I said to the crew, it was, finish up. And I go, hey, guys, I got a new cookbook. And they're like, what is it? And I go, it's Johan's cookbook, how to au poivre everything. And we had a good chuckle. And I was like, all right, we're over that, right? You know, like, it's not fair to the guest if